In this video, we're going to go over lesson 2.3, Got It, letter B. We're solving equations with rational coefficients using the distributive property and combining like terms where we can. Okay, so let's look at letter B. It says 1x equals 1/4 parentheses x plus 30 end parentheses. Because we have this parentheses right here and this 1/4 is right outside of it, we use the distributive property to get rid of the parentheses. You're going to distribute that 1/4 to the x and the 30. Okay, so let's do that. Let's recopy the equation. After we distribute the 1/4, so we have 1x, we're going to bring down the 1x. Bring down the equal sign. Okay, and now, if you multiply 1/4 times x, it's just 1/4 x. And then if you multiply 1/4 times 30, well, maybe off to the side I want to do 1/4 times 30. Put the 30 over a 1, and then you can multiply across. 1 times 30 is 30. 4 times 1 is 4. You can keep this as an improper fraction for now because it isn't our final answer. We're just using this as we solve the rest of the problem. So we're going to add 30 over 4. Now that we use the distributive property, there's no more parentheses. And now we want to solve this equation by getting the variables to one side of the equation and the numbers on the other. So to do that, I want to bring this variable term over to the left side of the equation. The reason I want to do that is because then there will still be something on this side of the equation. If we brought this 1x over to this side of the equation, then there wouldn't be anything left over here. That's not what we want. We still want something on both sides of the equation. So let's bring this 1/4 x over to the left side of the equation. To get rid of it, we subtract 1/4 x from both sides. All right, this is separate work. They cancel out over here, and now here's where I have to do my subtraction, 1x minus 1/4 x. So on the side, I want to do 1 minus 1/4 Let me put the 1 over a 1 so that I have two fractions. And now we need a common denominator. 4 would be the common denominator. Let me multiply this fraction by 4 and this fraction by 1. So now my two new fractions are 4 over 4 minus 1 over 4. Since they have a common denominator now, we keep the denominator and subtract the numerators. 4 minus 1 is 3. So now we use that. We just subtracted 1 minus 1/4 and got 3/4, which means 1x minus 1/4 x is 3/4 x. And it equals 30 over 4. So now we have one last step we have to do. We have 3/4 times x equals 30 over 4. We want to get x by itself. So using inverse operation, since 3/4 is being multiplied by x, to get rid of that 3/4, you divide both sides by 3/4. Okay, we'll separate this work. So these cancel out, and now here's where I do my division problem. We have 30 over 4 divided by 3/4. 30 over 4 divided by 3/4. When we're dividing fractions, we keep, change, flip. So you're going to keep 30 over 4, change this to a multiplication sign, and then flip this fraction, 4 over 3. Okay. Now we can multiply across. We don't need a common denominator, we're just multiplying. So 30 times 4 is 120, and 4 times 3 is 12. Well, 120 over 12, if you divide that, right, because a fraction sign is like a divided by sign, 120 divided by 12 is 10. Therefore, x equals 10.